successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I now call to order the meeting of the directors of the Empire State New Market Corporation for Thursday, December 19th, 2024. I'd like to note for the record that this meeting is being webcast and I will be the acting chair of today's meeting. I will note for the record that the public was given the opportunity to comment on the agenda items by submitting their written comments by 12 p.m. Tuesday. I'd like to say that no comments were received from the public with regards to the items on today's agenda. Directors have received the relevant materials in advance of today's meeting and are free to ask questions at any time. Before we begin with the substantive portion of the meeting, I'll ask the directors whether anyone has any potential conflict of interest with respect to any items on the agenda. And if so, would ask that you make the appropriate disclosure on the record at this time. We'll make sure you that recuse yourself from any discussion or vote with regard to such item. Hearing none, I would now call on John Evan Hornsby to present the first item on today's agenda, a request for authorization to adopt the proposed general project plan as it relates to Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. John Evan.
Thank you, Kevin, and good afternoon all. Empire State New Market Corporation requests approval to allocate up to $10 million in federal New Markets tax credit for the purpose of enabling the subsidiary community development entity to make loans to the borrower to finance the renovation of CAVB's 72,000 square foot headquarters facility in Utica and improvements to its 70,000 square foot facility in Syracuse, and to delegate authority to the president of ESNMC and his designee to take any and all actions with respect to such allocation of NMTCs, the final terms of all transaction documents, and closing the transaction. Founded in 1929, the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired, or CAVB, a nonprofit organization, serves people who are blind or visually impaired in Central New York, assisting them to achieve their highest level of independence through diverse services, including vision care and rehab, occupational therapy, workforce training and adult education, technology training, adaptive living support services, and education services for children up to the age of 21. CAVFI's business model mirrors a social enterprise by training and employing people who face barriers to employment in manufacturing and technology support, and utilizing the income generated to provide free or low-cost vision and health services. CAVFI contracts with federal and state government agencies and private companies to create meaningful employment opportunities for individuals who are legally blind or visually impaired. CAVFI's workforce is over 50% blind or visually impaired, and they work side by side with their sighted peers. The social enterprise consists of two distinct businesses. manufacturing and packaging with disposable gloves as its largest production line, providing products to the Department of Homeland Security, New York State hospitals, and fire and police departments, and a call center that provides 24/7 support to a variety of companies and organizations, including the State of New York and Medical Center. For the project, ESNMC will provide up to $10 million in NMTC allocation to finance CAVI's expansion and improvement of operations at its headquarters site in Utica, which will support the expansion of its tenant, Madison Oneida Board of Cooperative Educational Services, or BOCES, and improvements to CAVI's Syracuse facility. The extensive renovation of the 72,000 square foot Utica headquarters facility will include the addition of new manufacturing and packaging lines to support technically advanced job opportunities, improvements to the call center and BOCES tenant space to support more job and increase clients served, and the installation of a 350 panel solar array. The improvements to the 70,000 square foot Syracuse facility will include the reconfiguration of production space, including the addition of a new clean room to support assembly of higher value products for tech companies, and the expansion of and equipment for a dedicated vision services center to increase the number of people receiving free or low-cost care, and updates to the call center to support more jobs. Between CAVI and the BOCES tenant, the project is expected to retain 189 jobs and create 61 permanent full-time jobs. The proposed financing is recommended for multiple reasons. The investment is generally consistent with ESNMC's strategy proposed to the CDFI fund. ESNMC's strategy for the 2023 allocation is to invest in transactions that create quality jobs by growing the manufacturing base, particularly in small, upstate low-income communities, revitalize downtowns in small rural towns, and increase access to essential goods and services, especially in communities of color that face decades of underinvestment. The project fits well with this strategy as it will create and retain quality and accessible jobs, provide workforce training and adult education to low-income people, and provide vision and health services as well as other support services to low-income blind and visually impaired people. In addition to meeting the requirements of ESNMC's business strategy, the investment allows ESNMC to deploy 20% of its 2023 NMTC allocation and be eligible to apply for a 2024 NMTC award. The project's community outcomes are compelling and consistent with ESNMC's NMTC application and community outcome objectives. As previously mentioned, between CAVI and its BOCES tenant, the project is expected to retain 189 jobs and create 61 jobs. 98% of the jobs that will be created and retained will be paid above the local living wage. All CAVI employees receive comprehensive benefits, including health insurance, 403(b) retirement plan with match, and paid time off. BOCES employees receive an opt-in benefit choice, including health insurance, flexible spending accounts, and retirement plans. The Utica site will include the remediation of asbestos and the installation of green features, including over 350 solar panels, reflective roof membrane, LED lights, and energy-efficient heating. These green design features will allow CAVI to save approximately $30,000 per year that will be used for program growth. The project has significant local, state, and federal support, including a $1.6 million CFA grant from ESD. The project is part of Utica's Downtown Revitalization Initiative, and the mayor extended the plan's boundary to include the Utica facility and allowed $500,000 to be used to reconfigure the street to make it safer to travel to work for CAVI employees who are blind and visually impaired. The project aligns strongly with New York State's goal of workforce development, job creation, and providing critical social services to low-income communities. The project has been recommended by ESNMC's Project Review Committee and approved by ESNMC's Advisory Board. Thank you. Happy to take some questions.
Great. That sounds like a great project. Thank you, Jonathan. Any questions, comments, or additions or deletions from the directors? Oh, geez, we skipped the minute. Did we do the minutes?
There were no minutes.
All right.
No minutes in this agenda.
Okay. Sorry. Any questions, comments?
No, very thorough. I have no questions.
I have a quick question. Jonathan, you noted that the Utica site has a few environmental enhancements to the project, including the solar panels. Do these projects have any kind of bonus that for a project that may meet certain LEED certifications?
So there's no specific metrics outlined that they have to meet, but it is part of our strategy to the CFI fund to invest in environmentally sustainable outcomes and projects that have environmentally sustainable outcomes. So it's benefit for the program and for us as we apply for more allocation in the future.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Note for the record that there are no comments from note for the record, no comments from public. And I would entertain a motion for approval.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. John Evan will now present the last and final item on today's agenda, which is a request for authorization to adopt the general project plan as it relates to the construction of Evergreen Health's new health center. John Evan.
Thanks again, Kevin. Empire State New Market Corporation requests approval to allocate up to $10 million in federal new markets tax credits for the purpose of enabling the subsidiary community development entity to make loans to the borrower to finance the construction of EHS's 36,000 square foot new healthcare center in Buffalo, and to delegate authority to the president of ESNMC and his designees to take any and all actions with respect to such allocation of NMTCs, the final terms of all transaction documents, and closing the transaction. EHS Inc., a federally qualified health center lookalike, which means it does not receive federally granted funding, was founded by a group of volunteers in 1983 to address the HIV and AIDS crisis in Western New York. As breakthroughs in medical therapy were made for HIV and other STIs and STDs, the organization expanded its range of services beyond HIV care to meet additional healthcare needs of the community. Its unique model of care prioritized treating the whole patient to improve health outcomes. EHS offers medical, behavioral, and supportive services across its system of 8 locations in Western New York. Community Access Services, an affiliate of EHS, has provided quality healthcare and supportive services to underserved communities in Buffalo and across Erie County since 2003. The primary focus of CAS's efforts is to reduce the prevalence of HIV, the hepatitis C virus, and sexually transmitted infections in those communities, working to develop targeted and culturally appropriate prevention, harm reduction, and linkage to care services, as well as HIV and HCV testing services. Additionally, CAS is committed to addressing food insecurity for its clients and the community surrounding its location as a partner for Food More WNY, which is a food bank and Meals on Wheels for Western New York that provides food pantry services to everyone in the household who's eligible. CAS currently serves 375 individuals per year. For the project, ESNMC will provide up to $10 million of NMTC allocation to finance the construction of a new 36,000 square foot Kensington Bailey Health Center. The new health center will allow EHS and CAS to collectively provide more space and capabilities to welcome additional patients. EHS and CAS operate together and make it a priority to establish a centralized health center in underserved and expanding areas. The two organizations aim to sustain the delivery of high quality and equitable care to all community members in the Kensington Bailey neighborhood and beyond. The project is expected to retain and create 55 permanent full-time jobs. And the proposed financing is recommended for multiple reasons. The investment is generally consistent with the ESNMC strategy proposed to the CFI fund. The project fits well with the strategy as it provides critical health services to a medically underserved population and will create and retain quality and accessible jobs. In addition to meeting the requirements of ESNMC's business strategy, the investment allows ESNMC to deploy 40% of its NMTC allocation. The project's community outcomes are compelling and consistent with the ESNMC's NMTC application and community outcome objectives. As previously noted, the project is expected to create and retain 55 jobs. All the jobs that will be created and retained will be paid above the local living wage and receive comprehensive benefits, including medical, dental, and vision insurance, disability, life insurance, retirement, and paid time off. The project targets spending $2.8 million with minority contractors. EHS and CAS also serve a significant minority population in the community. The new health center will serve approximately 6,400 patients, with an estimated 64% being low-income people. The new center will provide primary care, behavioral health, specialty care services such as HIV treatment, STI testing and treatment, gynecology, gender-affirming care, and care coordination, and will have a pharmacy. The health center will serve a medically underserved population and work to address health inequality issues in the community in Greater Buffalo. The project is a result of direct feedback from patients and the local community, with a goal to provide a space of dignity to the community and provide accessible and equitable healthcare services across the continuum. ESD is providing $1 million restore grant to the project. The project has strong support from the mayor and local, county, and state officials and stakeholders. The project has been recommended by the ESNMC Project Review Committee and approved by the ESNMC Advisory Board. Thank you. Happy to take any questions.
Thanks again, Donovan. Any questions or comments from the directors with regard to this item?
Just a comment, in addition to receiving a restore grant for this project, it's in the center of our Kensington Bailey commercial district priority area. It's on the site of a lost building lost to fire about 5 years ago, which had pharmacy and a lot of these community services. So it's a great infill project.
Cool. Yeah, Donovan, you got some projects that really align with the feeling of the season today. So thank you. As noted earlier, we do not have any comments from the public, and I would now entertain a motion for approval if there are no further questions or comments.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Right. Thank you. The motion carries. Thank you, everyone, for participation in today's meeting. Thank you for everything all year long. Happy holidays to you and yours, and we'll see you next year.
Happy
Take care, everyone. Happy holidays.
See ya.
Thank you.